Absolutely. And thanks for having us today, Jackson. I appreciate the opportunity. What I'll talk about, just have a few slides to go over, is the effort to improve access and improve the requirements for driver education here in the state of Missouri. And I'll also talk about a statewide coalition that we created about 2 years ago and ways you can get involved if this is a topic that interests you. So, what the Missouri Driver Education Coalition does at its core, advocate for enhancements to Missouri driver ed through public policy, community outreach, and of course to improve traffic safety throughout the state. Driver education and lack thereof in Missouri was an issue that was, we identified at AAA several years ago. I know it's been folks have been working on that issue in the state for much longer than that, but we really recognize sort of the trickle down effect of a lack of formal driver training and how that's been impacting our state's traffic fatalities and traffic crashes. So this was an issue that we really wanted to address. Who's involved in the coalition? One of the things that we found early on is driver ed touches a lot of different organizations and facets of the state. So whether it's driver educators, of course, high school educators, even local businesses, particularly ones that require CDL licenses for operation, of course, law enforcement, traffic safety organizations, as well as the insurance industry. So we're a group of about 70 folks right now. We're very happy with that. We're always looking to add more folks to make sure we have all of our different stakeholders well represented and different industries well represented as well. So where are we at with driver education currently in the state? I know this. Hopefully the handout's coming through okay on your screen. I can give Jackson a copy to send out via email as well if you'd like a copy. But this was some data that the coalition pulled together, and there are some surprising facts and statistics on there, even to me as we were getting in it. I think the number one, maybe most surprising number that you see is at 7% in the top left, and that's the percentage of Missouri high schools that currently offer driver education during the school year. That's just 39 high schools out of the state's 553, and that's an extremely small number. If you a lot of folks, a lot of legislators we talk with are surprised to see that, and it makes sense though. I mean, if unless you've had a student recently go through the driver training programs or know of someone that has, uh, driver ed looks very different in Missouri, even from 20, 30 years ago than to where it is today. So I think that's surprising to a lot of folks. The one number below that, Missouri is one of 13 states that does not require any form of um, formal driver education prior to getting your license. So Missouri is certainly in the minority on that when it comes to requirements nationwide. And then if you look to the graph, the map on the right, there's really a stark difference of crash rate per capita involving teen drivers for states that do require formal driver education and those that don't. So you see Missouri at 54.6% of young driver crash involvement rate compared to some of the states in the green, Kansas, Iowa, Illinois, that do require formal driver education. So, the need is there. We can, certainly see the impact of driver ed. The question is, how do we get there? What levers can we pull in the legislature to, bring some sort of driver education requirement back? For the folks that have been working on the issue for quite some time, there are a lot of different approaches to driver education when it comes to state requirements. Not every state is uniform in what they require, how they require it, what divisions, departments handle driver ed. So we really have a lot of options, and that can be a good thing and a challenging thing as well, since there's not necessarily a template legislation or template policy that all states use. So we do have a little bit of flexibility there. One of the big challenges we found um, in the legislature in years past, when you think of driver education, I think most folks think of high schools offering classroom education for driver ed, maybe simulator, and then behind the wheel training. Uh, that full comprehensive driver ed program comes at a substantial cost. to the state if you go through DESE and the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. You're talking, purchasing vehicles to use, insuring those vehicles, maintenance on those vehicles, hiring additional staff to be certified driver educators, paying to have those folks go through this driver education certification process, simulators, the technical components with that. So that's been a huge roadblock, the cost associated with bringing back a full comprehensive, in-school driver education program. So I'll talk about a few bills this year that are looking to address driver ed, but with that cost component in mind. So the first bill that there's four of them altogether this year. The first bill that has really got some good movement is House Bill 2195, and also there's companion bills, Senate Bill 1567 in the Senate. What those bills would do would introduce the Missouri Integrated Safe Driving Program. And essentially, at its core, it would require DESE, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, to create driver education, traffic safety curriculum that schools could implement in their already existing classes. So, one of the challenges this bill was introduced last year, one of the pushbacks we heard from committee members that initially wanted driver education curriculum placed into Missouri health classes as a requirement for graduation. Now, right or wrong, there was a lot of pushback on the fact that health classes are very full. There's already a lot of curriculum that's required there. So there were some concerns about adding additional teaching components, without having to eliminate any others. So this bill, what it did this year is it made it optional for schools to implement. Again, we'd like to see it a little bit stronger than that, but this would be a good start and better than where we have been. So it takes kind of an innovative approach in that it utilizes already existing classes. So, for example, there might be curriculum for physics classes on the stopping distance needed when you're traveling at a certain speed, or health classes on the after effects of what happens during a crash. How your body could be impacted. So it takes sort of that unique approach. It has seen promising movement. The bill was voted unanimously out of the Elementary and Secondary Education Committee in the House last month. That's very promising because that's the committee that it died in last year. So definitely saw a stark turnaround in support. So especially with having that Senate companion bill, we're hopeful that this may have a real chance at moving. And I mentioned, the financial cost up front. The way this bill is structured, it has a $0 fiscal note attached to it. So that makes it very, easy to support for a lot of legislators who are budget conscious. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. It has been referred to the Rules Committee in the House. Of course, legislature is on spring break this week, but we're hopeful that it will see some more movement before the end of the year. The next bill that we're following is House Bill 3220. And this would require a more comprehensive driver ed program to include classroom, simulator, and behind the wheel training prior to getting your license. The different approach this takes is it takes DESE out of the equation. So it relies on essentially MoDOT, or the State Highway Safety Commission, to work with private driving schools, certified private driving schools, to offer that program to teens at no cost. So, of course, this would have a large fiscal note attached to it. However, the cost to get it up and running, is fairly reasonable. But, of course, there would have to be some funding put toward providing that ongoing training and education that these courses offer. This bill was heard in the House Crime and Public Safety Committee a couple weeks ago and passed out as well. So that's a promising step in the right direction. I think it would have a little bit harder time getting through the House floor if it makes it to that point. But we're hopeful, and if nothing else, we would, be love to take some key takeaways and notes if it is heard on the House floor. Some of the feedback we hear from representatives, because again, it kind of takes a different approach in the fact that it takes high schools out of the equation. It still would allow high schools to offer driver ed, but by and large, it would work with private driving schools around the state. And then lastly, House Bill 1753 would require an online road safety course. And this is an approach that several states are taking now, New York, Florida being, and Wisconsin, I believe, being a few recent states to pass a similar bill. But it would, it would essentially make driver education training available online to folks around the state. So again, this wouldn't necessarily have a classroom component or behind the wheel, but it would ensure that at least students are getting those important traffic safety topics and trainings before they hit the road. So this one hasn't seen quite as much movement. It has not been referred to committee yet. But we're hopeful, this is something we can build on in the future and take a closer look at moving forward. So with that, that's the end of my slides. As I mentioned, the Missouri Driver Education Coalition is always looking to add more folks to our team. It's a fairly low, minimal effort. If you want to participate, we meet once a month over Zoom for about an hour. And then we also, of course, send out updates on the bills. We do advocacy days at the Capitol if you're able to do that. And it's just a good way to stay up to date on what's going on with driver ed. So there's my contact information. Feel free to reach out if you'd like me to add you to our calendar invite.